Gorilla versus Gigantopithecus. The only primate that could have defeated a gorilla. Primates are a diverse and fascinating group of animals that we've talked about in the past. These furry friends of ours include monkeys, apes, lemurs, and, you guessed it, humans. With over an insane number of 500 species found across the globe, primates have adapted to a wide range of habitats and lifestyles, from the treetops of tropical rainforests to the arid savannas of Africa. However, when you think about the greatest primate, only one species must come to mind, and that's got to be the gorilla. Let's learn a little about the inspiration behind King Kong, shall we? The gorilla is one of the largest and most powerful primates, with males weighing up to 400 pounds, 272 kilograms, and standing over 6 feet, 1.82 meters tall, when fully upright. They are native to Central and Eastern Africa and are divided into two species, the Western gorilla and the Eastern gorilla. You'd think these beasts would devour any prey that came into their sight, but in reality, gorillas are herbivores. Gorillas live in stable groups led by a dominant male known as a Silverback, who is responsible for protecting the group from predators and other threats. Now that we know all this, I'm sure you're wondering about the title of this video. Is there truly a primate that could have defeated a silverback gorilla? Well, to answer your question, we're talking about the Gigantopithecus. So let's deep dive into who this strange primate was and how he might have been able to defeat the gorilla. History. Gigantopithecus was a type of giant ape that lived in what is now China, India, and Vietnam during the Pleistocene epoch, around 9 million years ago. For some frame of reference, our ancestors have been around on Earth for only 6 million years. The first evidence of Gigantopithecus was discovered in the early 20th century by a German paleoanthropologist named Gustav Heinrich Ralph von Koenigswald. While visiting a pharmacy in Hong Kong in 1935, he noticed a large molar for sale that he believed belonged to an unknown primate species. How crazy is that? Koenigswald later conducted several expeditions to southern China, where he found additional fossils of Gigantopithecus, including mandibles, teeth, and some cranial fragments. And since then, additional Gigantopithecus fossils have been found in caves and rock shelters across Southeast Asia, providing further insights into the anatomy, behavior, and evolution of this enigmatic primate. Size and features. Let's talk a little about the size of the Gigantopithecus. It has Giganto in its name, so it's got to be big, right? Well, the Gigantopithecus is considered the largest primate that ever lived, with estimates suggesting that it weighed up to 1,200 pounds, 545 kilograms, and stood over 10 feet tall, 3 meters. However, the exact size of Gigantopithecus remains a subject of debate among paleoanthropologists, as the species is known only from a limited number of fossil specimens. But based on the size and shape of the teeth and mandibles, scientists have estimated that Gigantopithecus was around 3 times the size of a modern gorilla. The teeth of Gigantopithecus were massive, with molars measuring up to 10 centimeters, 4 inches long, and 5 centimeters, 2 inches wide. Overall, when we talk about its physical features, it's believed that Gigantopithecus had a robust and heavily muscled body, with broad shoulders and a barrel-shaped chest. Its arms were also likely elongated, similar to those of modern-day orangutans, enabling it to move through the forest canopy with ease. But beyond that, due to a lack of information, there's not much else we know about their physical features. We don't know the color of Gigantopithecus's fur, or the exact size and shape of its head and hands. But based on comparisons with modern great apes, it is likely that Gigantopithecus had a relatively small brain for its body size, as well as a broad and flat face. Diet. The Gigantopithecus's teeth are all we really have to go on, so we must know a little about their diet, right? Well, the Gigantopithecus is believed to have been a herbivore, with a diet consisting mainly of plants, such as fruits, leaves, and other forest plants. However, its thick enamel suggests that Gigantopithecus consumed abrasive items like dirt particles on food gathered near or on the ground, such as bamboo shoots. The teeth of Gigantopithecus have a markedly low rate of pitting, which suggests a more generalist diet, potentially including chewing, crushing, and grinding bulky and fibrous materials like stems, roots, and grasses. Extinction. So why did these primates go extinct in the first place? Well, the extinction of the Gigantopithecus is still not entirely clear, but several theories attempt to explain it. One theory is that changes in the environment led to the disappearance of the food sources that the Gigantopithecus relied on. With their food sources dwindling, the population may have declined and eventually gone extinct. Another theory suggests that competition with other hominids, such as early humans, played a role in their extinction. As these hominids became more advanced and began hunting and gathering resources more efficiently, they may have outcompeted the Gigantopithecus for resources. Additionally, some researchers believe that the Gigantopithecus may have simply been unable to adapt to changing environmental conditions, since around 100,000 years ago, the Pleistocene Ice Age occurred. It's also possible that they may have faced disease outbreaks that weakened their populations. Anyhow, it is generally agreed upon that a combination of these environmental, biological, and ecological factors contributed to the disappearance of this giant primate. Gorilla versus Gigantopithecus. Finally, let's end it off with a little comparison battle between the Gigantopithecus and the modern-day silverback gorilla to see if the prehistoric primate can keep up with its descendant. First off, let's compare their sizes. The Gigantopithecus and the silverback gorilla were both massive primates, but the Gigantopithecus was significantly larger. As we mentioned before, Gigantopithecus stood at around 10 feet tall and weighed around 1,200 pounds, while the silverback gorilla can grow up to 6 feet tall and weigh up to 500 pounds. In terms of a hypothetical battle between these two primates, if we were to compare their sizes, it's possible that the Gigantopithecus could have an advantage due to its larger size and weight. With its massive jaws and teeth, this primate likely had a strong bite force and could have inflicted some serious damage on the silverback. However, it's also important to consider the gorilla's strength. They have powerful muscles and are capable of impressive displays of force, such as tearing apart branches and uprooting trees. In addition, gorillas are highly agile, with the ability to climb trees and move quickly through dense forest environments. It might be a classic David versus Goliath situation, but we are going to give this point to the Gigantopithecus due to its unimaginable size. Secondly, in terms of intelligence, it's challenging to compare the Gigantopithecus and the silverback gorilla, as there is limited evidence available about the former. However, based on the cranial capacity of Gigantopithecus, it is suggested that they were relatively intelligent animals. They were primates after all. In contrast, silverback gorillas are known to be highly intelligent and exhibit complex social behavior. They can use tools, communicate through various vocalizations and body language, and possess a strong memory. Studies have shown that gorillas are capable of problem solving and have been observed using basic tools in the wild, such as using sticks to measure the depth of water before crossing. Also, in terms of social intelligence, silverbacks exhibit a complex hierarchy within their troop, with the leader maintaining social order and mediating conflict between members. They are also able to recognize and remember individual members of their troop, as well as form strong bonds with them. Additionally, silverbacks have been observed exhibiting empathy and compassion toward other members of their troop, especially toward young gorillas. All of this goes hand in hand to confirm the advantages of the evolutionary process. If Gigantopithecus had the opportunity to evolve into modern-day versions of themselves, it might have been able to display the same levels of intelligence. We're going to have to give this point to the gorilla. In the end, it seems that both the gorilla and the Gigantopithecus are evenly matched. If you have any comments or questions, feel free to leave them down below. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications to stay up to date on videos like this. See you next time.